If you're a pop culture junkie who loves TV, film, music, comedy, and other really important stuff, then you've come to the right place. Get ready and settle in for Classic Conversations, the best pop culture interviews in the world. That's right, we circled the globe so you don't have to. If you're ready to be the king of the water cooler, then you're ready for Classic Conversations with your host, Jeff Dwoskin.
All right, Marsha, thank you so much for that amazing introduction. You get the show going each and every week, and this week was no exception. Welcome, everybody. It's episode 292 of Classic Conversations. As always, I am your host, Jeff Dwoskin. Great to have you back for what's sure to be a great episode. My guest today, co-founder of Two Chicks and a Hammer, star of HGTV's Good Bones, and now taking the podcast world by storm with her podcast, Mina AF. Mina Starsiak Hawk is here, and that's coming up in just a few seconds. And in these few seconds, take a plunge with me 1,000 feet to the land of the lost. Wesley Orr was here last week. Don't miss that amazing episode. Tons of great stories. But if you want great stories, you come to the right place. Mina has a lot of great stories. We're going behind the scenes of Good Bones, the Brady Bunch renovation show that Mina was a part of, Mina's new podcast. So much goodness coming up right now. All right, everyone, I'm excited to introduce you to my next guest, star of HGTV's Good Bones, and now taking the podcast world by storm with her podcast, Mina AF. Welcome to the show, Mina Starsiak Hawk.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a little storm, but it's definitely a storm. So thank you.
You got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. I'm definitely upending some people's worlds. So something of a storm.
I wanted to ask you, I know you've done the HGTV thing, so you've been on TV now for quite some time. So I'm sure people see you, and I'm sure you Google yourself. When was it like that you thought, okay, I'm pretty famous? Here's what I thought in doing my research. I'm like, Mina's made it, because there are articles out there called 15 Things I Didn't Know About Mina Starsiak Hawk.
Probably 7 of which are incorrect.
Probably, but it's like, but I feel like that is a level of fame that...
It's so weird because it's Indiana famous. Like, it's not like... I don't know. Like, I know I am. Like, people recognize me. People watch the show in Brazil and, like, you know, a dozen other countries. But my little bubble that I don't get out of a ton in Indianapolis, like, no one gives a shit about me. So it's fine. It keeps me humble.
I know you like to rep Indianapolis. So I got my Detroit shirt on. I got my hat in the background. Try to get a little Detroit vibe going. So love our city vibes.
Really quick, funny story about Detroit is my production company makes the show that's out of Detroit, the HGTV show. And next time, if you watch one of our season 8 episodes, there's a beautiful city skyline. And it's not Indianapolis, it's Detroit, because somehow footage got swapped. So dropped into Indy show. We've got some Detroit love too.
Okay. Yeah. Which show is that? It's Bargain Block?
Yes, Bargain Block guys. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Look at you. You're everywhere. I love, if you don't mind me starting with the Brady Bunch renovation, because I've had Christopher Knight on the Susan Olsen I've had on the show, cousin Oliver, Robbie Rist. I love the Brady Bunch. When I saw that you were part of the renovation, I'm like,
it was so fun. It was so cool. And like a lot of people, they'll say like, you know, don't ever meet your heroes. But they were all like the nicest. I mean, they would have every reason in the world to like be jaded and hate other humans and totally be over it. But they were all so nice. It was really cool.
Tell me about because you recreated like the bathroom, the infamous bathroom, and like the kids' rooms, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We did the bathroom in the kids' rooms. Well, the whole thing was tricky because the outside of the house exists in the real world and it's a 1-story house. And then everything else was on a soundstage. So this fourth wall that didn't exist, you kind of had to like fill in the blanks on what went where, because it was like a flat space. So even in the bathroom, doing it in the real house, we had this like window that went outside, but it was actually the mirror. And then they had the camera like boomed up to that second story, filming in from outside. So a lot of things where you had to kind of like bend what you thought was real and where everything went in the show to make it actually fit in a real house with rooms with 4 walls.
I remember seeing some of that show. So was it just a matter of here's what it looked like, studying the videos and stuff, and then just finding things to recreate?
They went back. They were able to get a bunch out of that were actual pieces from the soundstage because they worked with, I can't remember, who made Brady Bunch when it was on, but they were able to get a lot. They also did some like massive searches. It was part of the episodes where they would, put on, like, I don't know if it's Facebook Marketplace, but we're looking for like the refrigerator, like who has the refrigerator? And they drove somewhere in middle America and found like the exact replica of the refrigerator that was there. So it was this just like gigantic jigsaw puzzle between what they had left, what they could source from people who had it at their homes. Like we went and saw a lady and we got her refrigerator and she had a bunch of old stuff. So, and then custom making some things, reprinting the wallpaper. It was a lot of work by a lot of people. What I did was probably like one of the easiest parts.
Still, it's so cool. Did you have something to do with the doghouse as well? Tiger's doghouse?
Yes. Yeah. We, look, I've had like a kid and a half. My kid was 3 months old when we started doing that. And I've had kids in COVID. And so I'm like, I know I did. What did I do?
I know. It's like 100 years ago now.
We like roofed it. We did something with the doghouse. Okay. I was actually like deathly ill. One day we were supposed to film there. I think that was the day. So I think my mom ended up doing the doghouse solo. They all thought I was like faking it. I was like, you guys, I wouldn't be trying to get out of filming the Brady Bunch show. Like I went to a hospital in the middle of LA. It was like definitely the wrong hospital. I just Googled the closest one and I ended up like sleeping in a waiting room all night. It was terrible. And they were like, we can't do anything for you. Figure it out.
Oh no.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if this article was right. Who's your favorite Brady?
Oh, probably Maureen, Marsha. Was that right?
That is right.
I have tons of pictures of her playing with Jack when he was a baby because he was there with me. And I was like, this is epic. He'll think it's cool someday.
Oh, yeah. He'll love that.
Yeah.
So I think that was the last time they all got together, wasn't it? The last Brady show.
Probably. Yeah.
There's always something. They always find a way to bring it back. And then were you bummed when it didn't sell for what? I know you didn't have a vested interest in that part, but like just in general, they were trying to sell it for $5.5 million, but I guess they didn't get anyone.
Well, and I don't know because its location, whoever bought that should tear it down and build a new home. Like that's what that neighborhood merits. Like there's a giant like TikToker house across the street and like it's a nice, really fancy neighborhood in Studio City. And we just took it back a bajillion years and made it pretty non-functional. So you were going to have to find a very specific buyer or drop the price so someone could renovate it, unfortunately.
Right. One of those stay over, what do they call it? Stay over at the house?
Like the Airbnb.
Yeah, one of those turned into a Brady Bunch Airbnb, yeah.
Yeah. It would have been booked nonstop, but I think the reason the network didn't do that is because what I was explained is they don't hold properties. Because I mean, the amount that they had to pay just for security, even after we were done filming, because people like the liability of someone walking into the yard and getting hurt and suing Warner Brothers would have been catastrophic.
Oh, so they needed to dump that property quick.
Yeah.
So was it?
It was an attractive nuisance.
A guesstimate, obviously, but like, how many times did you guys joke about just not putting a toilet in that Jack and Jill bathroom?
Oh God, I don't know. But yeah, I didn't realize that you never saw those. But yeah, no, we got it. We had it around the corner. It was good.
That's all
worked out. And just you're not allowed to say Jack and Jill anymore, by the way.
Oh,
I am like trying really hard to be retrained because it might be Jack and Jack and it might be Jill and Jill and it might be, there's a lot of options now.
And you know what? And I thought I was being fancy with the terminology. I've never even said that in my entire life. I read it in the article and I'm like, I'm about to impress Mina with this terminology of things I know. And there you go. And now I just got the whole show canceled. I just got us both canceled. So anybody, a bathroom that connects two rooms, basically.
Yeah.
There we go.
You have to use a lot more words to explain it now.
All right. Well, thanks for letting me get that out of the way.
Of course.
All right. So Good Bones. So you were into buying houses and renovating way before HGTV came a calling.
Yes. Yeah.
You have no formal training. Is that correct?
That is correct. I actually bought the big yellow books that were blank for dummies. I bought Construction for Dummies quite early on and referenced it a few times. But I went to school. I got a general studies degree in college and a business minor. I was teachable, which I think was the important thing. But the rest of it was just trial by fire.
At what point do you like, oh, I'm really good at this? Like, how do you, you know what I mean?
I still don't feel like I'm really good at it.
Well, here, let's say like the first houses before the first ones where you're buying and stuff.
Yeah.
Because on the show, it's kind of like, you're recovering things from fires and stuff like that. Like, it's like hardcore, you and your mom bringing these things back to life. Was there baby steps involved? I mean, like,
honestly, we from the jump, we jumped in like the deep end because it's all we could afford. Like the really, really shitty ones that were half burnt that everyone was like, this is too much trouble. I'm going to move on. We were like, okay, well, that's what we can afford. So we'll do that one. So it just kind of stuck early on, which really set me up for a tough life with the show because they really expected a lot from Jump Street. And there's really no like tearing down. Like, can I just do what Nicole Curtis does and do like a bathroom an episode? Because we were always just the worst of the worst, catastrophic foundations, toilets caving in, filled with poop, the whole 9 yards. But yeah.
One of the things you said, I think, is that 50% of these you buy sight unseen.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those 50% are you like, just tear it down? You're like, no.
Yeah. Usually if I'm doing it sight unseen, it's because I'm getting it for $10,000. And it's like really all I'm banking on for that kind of investment is that I have the land and fingers crossed that I might have a sewer line that I can keep. There's only been one house I think I'm at about 130 now, where I bought it sight unseen. Well, only one house that I was like, I don't want this. Can I sell it? Can I give it to someone else? Like, no one wants it. I felt completely uninspired. I hated it. I didn't want to do it. And it was on season like 3 of the show. And I probably say that in the episode. But the rest of them, I all kind of assume that it's a crapshoot the second I put the offer in.
I rewatched the pilot. I had to pick one.
How'd you even find the pilot? They air that still?
You're all on HBO Max.
Oh my God. I was hoping the pilot was like buried somewhere, not re-airing. It's so bad.
The HBO Max has all the seasons and your spinoff.
Okay.
Where you did the Victorian
I just
house.
didn't know it added the pilot on the front end.
HBO has everything. So
yeah.
Talk to me about so you're doing this, you're doing it with your mom, you've got 2 Chicks and a Hammer and HGTV calls.
Yeah.
How'd they even get a pulse on you? How did they?
I had a Facebook page. So started renovating in 2007, got my real estate license in 2009. And when I did that, I came up with the name and made a Facebook page because there was like 9 other realtors that followed me and there weren't a lot of people doing what we were doing in our neighborhood. So a lot of our houses would sell well before they were done, even though there was only 5, 10 people paying attention to what we were doing. But the Facebook page had my cell phone number, my home address, and I found out this later, but I got a random call from a talent scout at a production company, and because she was looking for 2 contractors that the production company had worked with like a decade prior. And it was 2 lesbian contractors. And whatever Google search she was doing, she found my Facebook page of 2 Chicks and a Hammer and went down that rabbit hole and was like, well, not what I was planning on finding, but they look interesting enough. And so she reached out and, as they say, the rest is history. I thought it was someone like trying to steal my identity at first because she was asking all kinds of like business questions, but did a little digging, legit production company.
Right. They had done a lot of other shows.
Yes. Yeah.
How long does it take to renovate one of these houses from the time you walk in and go, whoa,
Yeah. I think at the time it was probably around 6 months for us and about $180,000, $200,000. And when they said, so we did our whole sizzle reel, they pitched it to HGTV. HGTV said, yes, make a pilot. But when they say yes, make a pilot, they only have a budget. It's a very little budget. So we had 11 film days and 32 days total to do the house. And I was like, you got it. My stomach fell out my butthole. And I was like, all right, we'll figure it out. And we made the prettiest little dollhouse you've ever seen in 32 days. Nothing worked. Like it was the Brady Bunch. There was no toilets. You couldn't go to the bathroom. You couldn't wash your hands. The sink faucet wasn't attached. I think we were actually like illegally hooked up to a generator because we didn't have like power yet from the city. But we did it. And then after the cameras left, we unstaged and actually did the house and put it together. I think it took like 6 more weeks.
That's incredible. That's awesome.
It was ridiculous.
Sorry to interrupt my conversation with Mina. Have to take a quick break, but I do want to thank all of you for your support of the sponsors. When you support the sponsors, you're supporting us here at Classic Conversations, and that's how we keep the lights on. And now back to Mina and more secrets behind the scenes of Good Bones. And we're back. Taking this 32, 6, month long plus 6, to get it to 43 minutes.
Oh, God.
Like, who's in charge of that?
Not me. Purposefully, not me. They're like, we do not want your opinion. You don't get to see it. So when everyone else sees the episodes is when I see them, which I think a lot of people don't realize. But yeah, I mean, I'd probably average takes 6 to 8 months to do a house. So we do, in a year, it was about 13 houses. So that's, how many minutes of television is that? 13 times 42. 546 minutes of TV out of a year. And I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to me. I watch the episodes because I'm like, I want to see what they cut, what they used, what they didn't, so I can be more efficient with my time because we're obviously filming all day, every day. And so much gets, cut and thrown out and never used. I don't know how they do it. It's a handful of people's jobs.
So they're just pulling you aside, go, all right, Mina, your mom did this, comment on that, and then No,
I mean, not even that. It's just, I'm sure they wish they could script us. It's just whatever is happening. Usually we'll make a plan for the day, or the week. I'll say, this is what's happening at, the 10 different houses we have going on. And if we have cabinets going in one, they're like, yep, that's a big beat. We want to get that on camera. So we'll schedule that day, and then countertops and then tile over here. And then the week starts and everything goes to shit. And the day the cabinets are supposed to come, they're half damaged. So that's not happening. And that's the new story beat, the damaged cabinets. And we can't do this. And it's going to put us behind 8 weeks and this much money. And takes on a life of its own. I'm sure have you done any home renovation at your house, bathroom, or nothing goes as planned?
Oh, correct. Yes. We were doing our kitchen and ended up having to do the entire giant wood floor over. And we're thankful that was the only thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 10 houses a time all going wrong and just trying to chase it around with a camera pretty much.
So when you're working with the granite comes and the granite's wrong, or like you said, the counter, the kitchen stuff is broken or half broken, do these folks not know that they're working with HGTV and Good Bones?
You would think they would perform at an elevated standard due to the exposure, but it never ceases to amaze me that people do not. They actually, if you want to see some super disappointing shit, watch the spinoff. This whole construction company, we ended up having to blur their logo because it was going to be probably a legal shenanigans. But just how crappy some of the work that people do is on international television. Because a lot of these people have signed releases because they want their company shown. They want to get a little bit more business. And then you're like, yeah, well, you really shit the bed, bro. What's going on?
One of my fascinations with these type of shows is the fact that I have absolutely no ability whatsoever. I mean, it takes us 8 months just to find a picture to put in one particular place, let alone if I'm supposed to hang something.
I feel you there, though. I hate hanging stuff. Hate it. I hate putting holes in the wall.
Sometimes I can be a one-trick pony. And
How long did that wall behind you take then? You got a dozen things hanging back there.
Oh, but you know why? Because it was very specifically, my wife said, okay, this room's yours. And I go, all right, but I got to do it right. If I make it haphazard, I'll lose my wife will take away my privilege of being able to do whatever I want in this one particular room. So I got measuring tapes and I did stuff. And so I but it's when you're in the middle of the room and you're hanging this thing that's expensive or whatever. And it's it's just nerve wracking. It's nerve wracking. Yeah. So it's crazy to me, when you have a skill like yours where you go, all right, the floor plan, we're going to do this. We're going to get rid of that wall. We're going to do this. And we're going to do this. And then that'll open this up 400,000 more square feet.
Exactly. That's pretty much how it happens, which it's this weird place in my brain. I think it's kind of like a math equation. I was always really good at math. So I'll just do pretty much exactly what you did. And it will make just as much sense to everyone else as what you just said did. Absolutely no sense at all. I'm but I get it. So just stay with me. We'll figure it out.
It's incredible. What are the worst things you can find when you buy one of these houses and you walk in? Well, you were talking about angry mold.
People There's a lot of people. We find people a lot squatting. A lot of times, I don't know how PG or not your podcast is, but a lot of times people have been using it for nefarious activities. So we frequently find a pretty significant undergarment collection that has been abandoned. A lot of pornography, like an obscene amount. Lots of poop in a toilet or in a bucket or like just down the walls. There was one room of a particular house that was clearly like the pooping room. That's where you all go to poop. It's been agreed upon. Dead animals in various states of decomposing. Yeah. Creepy baby dolls. Lots of creepy baby dolls.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and for purposes of this interview, just consider this classic conversations AF. Just whatever you want.
Okay.
So what do you like? You show up and you're like, all right, hey, Tad, go clean up the poop room.
Well, yeah, it's usually done on demo day. That particular house that actually had the whole room, we took down. We actually demolished the whole thing. So thank God we had a machine to do that one. Yeah, I mean, whether it's the toilet or the whatever, it's usually some shenanigans, some kind of game to decide who has to do it between the boys, not me. Like I've earned my stripes. I don't need to do that.
Oh, that is too funny. What's the worst thing would you say that ever happened where the plan just went so off the rails?
We had a house fall down. That was bad. It was over a weekend and we had done the demo, and a lot of the old houses that we do ones that are built mostly between like 1900 and 1920. And obviously code was different then. And a lot of times like the roof, like the actual shingles or the actual siding are integral to the structural integrity of the house. Whereas today that's not. The house could stand without siding on it. And so we had taken this house down to the studs so you could see through it from the sidewalk to the backyard. And I kept telling my contractor, I was like, you need to brace it. You need to brace it. It's not going to, like, you're not reframing tomorrow. Put bracing. And he didn't. And over the weekend, it literally just fell down. And it was a huge problem, not only because it fell down and, that's clearly a problem, but because we work downtown, the city lots are really small and the amount of lot you're allowed to cover is much less than most of these houses that exist. So if the house already exists and you're not if you're not taking it down, you're allowed to keep the same footprint. You just, piecemeal it back together. But once it comes down, you are not allowed to put it back up unless you get a variance. So not only did it fall down, we then had to start the minimum six-week process of redoing the floor plans and then getting a variance to say, can we build back new construction what was there, even though it's more than what's allowed to current code. So it was just a shit show.
That does sound like a shit show. Oh my God.
Yeah.
When you're like, okay, we bought the house for $7,000 and we're going to put $125,000 into it. And then we can sell it for $220,000, giving us a profit after blah, 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 $40,000.
Uh-huh.
How much swag is in the upfront one, knowing that even for the sake of the show, you need something to go wrong?
Oh, well, and that's the thing. Super funny. Early on, I don't know if you can hear my child screaming. I apologize if you can. Early on, before the network, the production company knew how many things go wrong for us. Like it's just gonna happen. We were doing one house and again, filled with lots of porn and no less than 12 mattresses, even though it was only 1,000 square feet. The production company had there was a rolled up rug and they had kind of propped it in a doorway and there was a drop ceiling. So they took this, like the plastic light up snowmen that are kind of lightweight that like my grandma had. They popped one up into the drop ceiling and then propped the rug under it. So when we had to walk through the doorway, we'd have to push the rug out of the way. The snowman would fall. No one would get hurt, but it'd be a good scare. It'd be a great commercial out. And it didn't fall when we moved the rug. So I don't know that any of this has happened. And we were outside after the walkthrough doing our little interviews when we kind of go off to the side. The camera guy, the second camera guy, is inside just doing his big, nice pan shots. And you just hear a crash. And the snowman had then decided to fall out of the ceiling. And I don't know if it was onto the camera guy or just near him, but scared the bejesus out of him. And I was like, so they had to explain what they did. And I was like, never again. Enough things go wrong. I swear to you guys, enough things will go wrong. And from that day, they were like, you are right. more things go wrong than we can even make airtime for. So no more shenanigans.
It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So over the 8 years of your life on Good Bones, so 2016 up until just recently, actually.
Yeah.
How is it living through the real, because during this time, right, you're getting fans, people are connecting with you on a different level. They're not, and you're living through, you're getting engaged, you're having kids, your sister-in-law passed away. It's just all these things happen. It's like, how, it's kind of like, is it exacerbated? Does it make it so much harder? Like, it's just.
It is. It's just like, everything's under a microscope. And while I have a huge majority of followers that are awesome and supportive and say amazing things, but there are enough Karens out there, trolls that just have an opinion about everything. Like, my sister-in-law died wrong. Like, you can't do that, guys. And I've always been a very open person, and obviously deciding to make like a TV show, you kind of throw privacy out the window. So it's just tricky. And even with my podcast, it's tricky because I'm very like open and honest while still trying to be respectful of all the other humans that exist. And it's upsetting a lot of people. They don't think I should be talking about any of the things I'm talking about. So just having think about how many people you have in your life and you're like, God, their opinions are so annoying. I wish they would just keep them to themselves. And that's just like real humans that you could actually see face to face. I have like 600,000 humans whose opinions are all up in my business and I have no desire for them. So just thick skin, man. I had to figure that out early on.
So a lot of people are thinking they have a say in how you do things. And
yeah. There's no barrier to entry with social media anymore. Like when I joined Facebook, you had to have a .edu account, email account. That's what you had to have. That was the barrier to entry. So you're like, okay, we're all in this. We're all students. We're somewhat like-minded because we're students and we're doing this together. And now it's like, you can I'm here being like my real self. And there's these hundreds of thousands of fake profiles that have no barrier to entry. They don't have to even stand behind the crap they're saying because they're just fake accounts. And it's they just think everyone cares about their opinion and they share it, and no one gives a shit. But it's very annoying to hear.
Yeah, social media has made everyone an expert on every single thing. And worse, if you find something that someone says that you think is in line with what you share it, and then everything gets even worse. It's
oh my gosh, very funny. You have to do a background check when you start doing any of this. And another life, I had a Twitter account that I actually I followed an account called Funny Jewish Girl or something. And I had retweeted something. And can I say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I had retweeted this tweet that said something to the effect of I'm not saying she's easy, but her favorite shade of lipstick is dick. And I thought it was absolutely hilarious. And that had to be scrubbed from my Twitter. Very early on, they were like, this isn't okay. You need to take that down. I was like, oh, okay. So yes, we're going to do the HGTV version of me, not the whole version of me. Because I curse like a sailor. I have an inappropriate sense of humor. And while HGTV is getting a little edgier for them, there's still a lot of Mina AF portion of Mina that is not necessarily fit for general consumption.
Yeah, Twitter can be dangerous for old stuff. Especially once people figure out how to use the search, which I think for a long time people didn't know.
Yeah.
And then they take a screenshot and it lasts forever.
Yep.
And I remember when Twitter it got to a point where even now, I'm not even bothering. You can't deal with the trolls who are, like you said, are fake. And it's would go to Facebook. I was like, guys, it's exhausting. I used to, on Twitter, would fight the good fight for everything. And it's I'd take on Nazis. I'd do whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's and now it's just it's exhausting because they're not real and you can't win because they don't care. And
and bless my husband's heart, he tries his darndest. He bites his tongue a lot when there's certain things about me, but he'll be like, I had to say something. I'm like, that's just feeding the fire. Don't do it. It makes them feel heard.
Listen here, angry Henry 1346789.
Whose picture is like a turtle.
Right.
It's not even your face.
I'm going to explain to you why you shouldn't be racist right now.
Yes.
I'm going to solve
exactly
every problem there is. How does your husband? Does it work for him? The kids? Do Do you do certain things where like just kind of keep them out of as much as you can, at least now?
They've just always been such a part of it from the beginning. Like they were on the show, they were on my social media, and it just got big so slowly. And I think also partially because I'm in Indiana, nothing's ever felt dangerous for them. No one's ever felt like they were like crossing boundaries or being inappropriate or where I needed to like shelter them from it. And if that were to change, I think we would make some different decisions. It's never been a problem. They're kind of been part of the whole ride, and they love being on camera. Like if I were to see you in the street and you're like, hey, can we take a picture together? They'll like pop right in the front and they're like, me too. Like, okay, sure.
Right. They're jumping right to doing TikToks and Snapchatting. All right. I get it. All right. So they
dread the day.
So they're fine with it because they kind of eased into it. They didn't. And
they're 3 and 5. Like they still don't really even get it. Like Jack will tell people, he's like, my mom can come fix your house on her show. Like that's his extent of understanding it.
Do your friends call you all the time? Are you getting calls all the time?
They used to a lot. I think because I am pretty like inaccessible socially, they're like, she's got a lot going on. We'll maybe not bug her for free advice or free project management or any of those things. But for a while, yeah.
Because if you lived here, you'd be over all the time. I'd be.
My family actually started doing this thing, and they've adapted it from the Amish when they do a barn raising. So, when everyone comes together, I think they literally like raise the barn in a day. I also found out yesterday that is also referred to as a frolic. So they have changed the terminology for what they're doing from barn raising to frolic. And every few weeks, they go from like, they did my sister-in-law's yard this past weekend. 2 weekends ago, they did, my brother had a basement project where they pulled out all the insulation. This upcoming weekend, they're going to my sister's house and doing like a big landscaping project. The idea is there's more bodies, so you can knock it out and you all help each other. My brother's like, are you going to join in? I said, absolutely not, because I don't ask you guys to do on the weekends what you do all day, every day for your job. And that's what that is for me. And I can barely get my own shit done. Like I have cracks in my drywall. I need to paint a room. I started taking wallpaper off my daughter's bedroom wall, and the wall came off with it. The whole, like the backing for the drywall. You know what I did? I moved her out of the room. I left the room. I was like, I'm done. I had time to take wallpaper down. I don't have time to re-drywall a room. So I disassembled her bed and moved her out into a different bedroom.
You're living in the hall now.
Yes. So I will not be doing the frolics with them.
So I have a question about the staging that you do at the end when you bring the families in. Do they get to keep any of that, or can they keep that? Because
they can't. I always say this, the Property Brothers love them. So this is nothing against them, but they've ruined it for everyone because they have these amazing relationships with like Wayfair, where they do one of their houses on their show and then Wayfair decks it out and everything gets to stay for free. But it's it's pretty much just them that have that relationship. So when we're staging, it's stuff that we buy to put in the house. So we always, like, you can buy anything in the house, usually at a discount, because I try to, like, you're going to save me some money and energy by not having to try to return it or resell it or whatever that is. So it's an option. And we've had people that are like, yep, I have $15,000 and that could pretty much, literally buy everything down to like the soap dish in the bathroom. Or we have people that just want the dining table and chairs. So it just depends.
Yeah, because to me, that would be like, the worst part would be like, here's your house. Yeah. I love it. Oh. And then they're like, and the next day it's just like, wait a minute, it's just a wood floor now.
Yeah. I think a lot of people underestimate the value of the work that, like, all day, every day. When we did my house for the show, I was like, we're not putting anything in here that I can't afford to keep, because the effort, like the design, the physical moving of stuff, like I would pay twice for the furniture if that all came with it. But we're also renovating in transitional neighborhoods. So these aren't people with like, I have $50,000 for my down payment plus another 15 for all the furniture.
All right. So the show ends. What kind of led to you deciding to, I know your mom retired a bit ago, right? And then probably exhausting doing it all yourself, but like.
Yeah. So I've been the sole owner of the company for the last 5 years. And so like, I'm the only one holding liability insurance and trying to make payroll and having to manage contractors and, the rest of the posse on the show kind of gets to do the fun stuff. And it was just so much. 13 houses a year. It was all moving too fast. I couldn't make good financial decisions. I couldn't take the time and say, okay, well, this contractor is messing up, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the cord now, and I'm going to find a contractor that can do it right, because I had to get the house done. So you just deal with the effed up contractor, which ultimately always ends up causing more problems in the long run. But things like that, like just not having the time to make like the best financial decisions. And then probably the only reason I've been doing that for a long time, making bad financial decisions, but getting older, more tired, and having 2 kids, then just really started to reflect on, I should really stop making bad financial decisions and figure out a way to do something that's sustainable, because I am like burnt the F out. So, I mean, and Good Bones as it was done, but there will always be more. Like I'll always be doing stuff on HGTV, and, we might come up with another model that is a little bit more sustainable, because it's weird on the production, like TV side too, because the only reason any show exists is because of ad dollars. And with like all the streaming and YouTube, and they don't know where they can spend money. So like budgets are weird, and I think it's a good time for a reset.
Sorry to interrupt. We have to go get some budget ad dollars so we can finish the show. And we're back. Is the risky business kind of spin-off thing that you did a bit ago, or not too long ago, but...
Oh, God. It almost killed me. That rated almost twice as high as Good Bones, because it was such a disaster, like more of a disaster than anything you've ever seen on Good Bones. But it was really fun. So it was 6 episodes about this like one property. And it was, I think, interesting for the network to test, because it was just me. It wasn't any of the rest of like the Good Bones team. So it was just it was all on my shoulders there. And we got it done, but it wasn't pretty.
Also available on HBO.
Yes. Yep,
I think it was labeled as a documentary.
Really?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
at least one of the sub things. So.
Okay. I guess you could call it that.
Miniseries, one-off, whatever.
I mean, it was pretty, it was a different filming style. I always say it was much more like Cops style than Good Bones was, because there was always a camera guy at the house. So if I showed up and announced, like, they were getting what was there, and there was a scene where I was losing my shit. It wasn't a scene. I had showed up, things were going wrong. I was losing my shit. I was about to start crying. I was about to start yelling. And I was like, and I needed to leave. They had cameras set up in my car because we were doing some driving scenes and we were done. And so I get in the car and I'm like hitting the cameras down. I'm like, turn these things off. I'm like, pull away. So my mic pack was out of range and like parked a few blocks away, had like a very angry, crying, yelling phone call, cried some more, called them. And I was like, sorry, I needed 5 minutes. I'm coming back now. And all of it was on camera because I didn't turn any of the cameras off that I thought I did. I think they used just like a snippet of it, but it got real. Definitely got real.
Was that the most real thing that they captured, or was there even anything worse? Were you completely melted?
No, that was probably it. I mean, they got a lot of good, I'm going to walk away because there's no crying in construction moments, but that one there was the crying, there was yelling, there was cursing.
And now you're a world famous podcaster, Mina AF. Tell me, making in the news, everything's going. The show Good Bones is now over. It's aired the final episode. That's got to be sad, right? I mean, like that's a whole chapter. That's a long chapter of your life.
It is. It's like the finishing filming was like a really long, drawn out divorce, because you finish like the primary filming and you're like, okay, we're done. And these are people that like live in Indiana now that I've been in a relationship with for the last 8 years of my life. And then all of a sudden, like everyone's gone. Then you're like, okay, well, we'll try to make it work again, because you come back together because you have to do like pickup shots and some floor plan meetings or whatever. And then it's like, okay, now it's actually done. And then I think there was like one more pickup day. And so the last day that it was done, it felt very like uneventful, because we'd been done technically for so long. And then you go from seeing these people every day, like they saw me get engaged, get married, have my son, go through IVF. I mean, my husband's sister and both parents passing, like they had life events. Our sound guys had 2 kids. Like my producer's wife had a mastectomy, like just all these things that we were all together for. And now it's just like at separate ends of the earth. It's probably more normal for them because that's their like job and their lifestyle. This was a really, really long job, but they move on to the next thing too.
The final episode aired October 23rd-ish. When did you finish recording?
Primary filming, I think, was done in like August. And then we did some pickup stuff August of last year. No, I'm so bad about my dates. Probably stopped filming about 6 months ago, and we had some pickups probably like 4 months ago, something like that.
So you're kind of having to live through this twice emotionally.
Yeah. Yeah. And then rewatching it is again, like, because again, I'm seeing it for the first time, just like everyone else. So, the things that end up getting put in the episodes, or like there's scenes that I wasn't part of, so that I didn't see, and that I'm seeing for the first time, and all those things. So it's interesting.
So now you're using up your free time to take over podcasting, Mina AF. So who convinced you to do a podcast, or is this just something you wanted to do?
A company had reached out, and that's not who I actually like ended up working with, but a company had reached out a while ago. And it just didn't seem like the right time, or like I had anything to say, or I had time to say anything. And then another company reached out, and I was like, okay, like let's go through the motions. What would this look like? And at the time, pretty much it was, I can exist and I can talk for days, and I can talk about anything. I can't do anything else. I can't do the planning, the production, the editing, anything. But that's when the show is still going on. But the whole idea behind it was like that group of people that aren't the trolley Karens, that want more of like the holistic version of me. Because I have a lot of like fucked up stuff in my life that people like to relate to, was just to be able to talk about it more. Because being on Instagram, you only get, even if you get a lot of words, people read the first 3. Right. So I just wanted to create like a different space where there was like a barrier to entry, which is simply understanding how to listen to a podcast, which most trolley Karens don't know how to do, which is great. So it's a lot of like women my age. There's actually like a decent amount of men as well that listen. And it's just everything from like my plastic surgery to infertility to my husband's parents passing and like the grief process. We're doing an episode this week because, we've talked about like our mental health, but like I have been going through the process of adjusting. I got off Lexapro and then got onto something new, and that wasn't really working. And he's tweaking some things. And so like that roller coaster, and we just talk about like things that are actually normal, but that a lot of people just don't talk about because they're embarrassed or they're ashamed or whatever it is. And it's been really, really cool. I got a solid 6,000 people, might be up to 12 recently, that follow and listen every week and just give amazing feedback and amazing voice messages. And even though it's making absolutely no money, make it worth like we're talking to people. I'm not just like screaming into a microphone. So it's cool.
No, you're very open. I listened to the one where you talked about the mental health, and fangirling was a fun one. That was your most recent or a recent one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you mentioned earlier people getting upset. Some of the, I mean, if you don't mind me bringing it up, but in just Googling, it's come up about you and your mom not talking or getting along. And I imagine that's one already hard on you as is, because these shows can be a strain. But then the connection that people have with you and that they have with you and your mom, then they're living through it too. And you almost have to, you have to balance their feelings about your relationship.
Well, it's so interesting. I mean, I think the reason our show was so successful is because so many people could relate, whether it was someone my mom's age, someone my age, there's Tad, there's Corey, there's all these different people. So you really felt like you knew us, because it was like the show was very representative of who we all were, even if it wasn't like the whole view. So getting thrown this like wrench of, oh, that relationship is different than I thought it was. It's like other people are grieving it as well. And some of them not in a very nice way. You're like, I'm working on it, guys. It's obviously definitely not ideal for me, but I'm very sorry about your feelings surrounding it as well.
Well, it's hard, it's like people create a connection, right? I mean, you saw it with Matthew Perry passing away. It's just like, so, people become invested. That people 8 seasons or, however many seasons that you guys were in it together, but like they want you to come to their Thanksgiving dinner. So it's like to figure out that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Anyway, your podcast is great.
Thank you.
So what's next? Just keep podcasting, more HGTV shows. You pitching them. You're like, oh, I can.
Yeah. I have a couple I'm always throwing shit against a wall to see what'll stick. So I had a couple pitches that I've sent them that are, like a version of Good Bones. I sent them one that was Reno Under the Influence, like doing home renovations with influencers, because they're all so unique and like so interesting, and they're all making $1 bajillion for however long this influencer world's going to last. So they're all doing really cool like home renovations and upgrades. My husband and I are working on our lake house, and that's being filmed. There's a House Hunters All-Star season that's going to be coming out, so I get to do that. So hopefully I put my name in the hat. I'm like, I'll judge Rock the Block again this year. I'm sure I don't see myself not being part of the HGTV family as a whole for forever. I think it's just figuring out what's next.
Mina, you're so fun to hang out with. Thank you.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So what's your socials? Tell everyone your socials.
My personal one is Mina _Starsiak _Hawk. And then my business one is 2 Chicks and a Hammer. And it's the same on Facebook. So just check them out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. How amazing was Mina Starsiak Hawk? Definitely check out her podcast, Mina AF, and head on over to Max, formerly HBO, whatever they used to call that app, and watch Good Bones. 8 seasons await you of Good Bone goodness. Can't believe it. The interview just flew by, didn't it? That means episode 292 has come to a close. One more huge thank you to Mina Starsiak Hawk and my friends at Tink. And of course, a huge thank you to all of you for coming back week after week. It means the world to me. And I'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Classic Conversations. If you like what you heard, don't be shy and give us a follow on your favorite podcast app. Also, why not go ahead and tell all your friends about the show? You strike us as the kind of person that people listen to. Thanks in advance for spreading the word, and we'll catch you next time on Classic Conversations.